Hi, I'm Dr. Mark, and I'm going to help you sing and perform more like the top artists around the world. I'm a professional voice teacher, performance coach, and opera stage director. I've helped thousands of singers around the world learn the techniques and methods that got the top singers to where they are. Let's talk about what makes Citizen Shade's performance of Lover Don't Leave so awesome. You'll notice here this is a double video. I'm actually going to be playing the audio from their Tiny Desk submission version of this, but I wanted to include their official video because I thought the dance was so awesome. I love those videos, and I think it's just really cool. Gave a lot to talk about. I love these guys. They're one of my favorites. Thank you, Citizen Shade, for commenting on the last video I did on you guys. You made me a hero in my son's eyes. He was freaking out a little bit because he's a diehard fan. I'm a fan. So this is one of my favorite songs that they've done, and thought I'd share it with you because I think they're awesome. Let's do it.
I've said that love is just a word. The idea seems absurd that one can give more than it takes away from me. I've said that hope I'll never find, and to myself I must confide. There's no trust outside your mind when your heart is overthrown.
Okay, a lot going on here. There's more than I can talk about in this one video, just in this segment here. So a few things I want to talk about. Visually, I want to point out that in their Tiny Desk submission, they're just there in what looks like someone's office with recording studio type stuff. And it looks like it's kind of basically just like a home studio-esque type studio setup. I'm sure it's nice in that, but you get the idea. They do this all the time in their videos. They set it in places that are not like super visually impressive. What I think is awesome is that they still capture so much variety. They're still so authentic, so believable, so expressive. It is almost more impressive that they're able to do that in a non-impressive location, because we are still engaged. It's not like, oh, this looks like a half-baked movie. No, it's still so engaging, and in fact makes it more believable and more authentic for us, right? That's something I really like. Something you'll notice here is we have this warm, rich sound that he creates a lot, especially in his lower range. This really warm, rich, it's just so glorious. Really, really gorgeous sound. You'll notice he keeps more of this in back when he does that. You'll notice then when he goes to higher notes, that comes more into place, and we get that higher, cleaner sound up top, which then is mind-blowing because we're used to hearing this warm, rich lower, and then we hear these crazy high notes that are so clean and crisp and clear. It's just gorgeous, and that contrast is fantastic. What makes it work is even on these low notes when he's opening there, he's still keeping it really, really resonant up front. And you can hear that in that mic. It's this stretch between this warm open back and this really resonant front. Interestingly enough, that's really similar to what we're looking for in opera. So try that today. Try this really warm. You'll notice here in this lower range, we're not seeing this upper two smile here. In fact, it's a little bit covered. That's going to warm up that sound even more in this lower range. You'll notice he's right on that mic. So he's trusting that the mic is going to take care of the volume level. He's not singing loud. He's not pushing at it. If he would, it'd start feeling compressed and heavy and tight. But he's not. And he doesn't have to because he's got that mic. That's one of the things that we're seeing going on. Other thing I want to point out here is visually, if you look at the dancers, a lot of people, when they're looking at something that's more abstract, like dance, whatever, they can appreciate and think that's cool, that's interesting, that's fun to look at. But they are often looking for, well, what does it mean? Like, what does it mean when you do this or do that? And I remember going through art museums in the past. I have one of my older brothers is a painter, and consequently we'd go on family trips, and my dad liked to travel, and he'd take us to different places around the world. And I remember going to this really famous museum. I can't remember what it is, but it was supposedly one of the top museums in the world, and I think it was Spain. And we were walking through, And the discussion started happening about some abstract pieces and how I think my dad was saying something to the effect of how he appreciated those little cards on the side that gave you insight into what the artist was thinking or what it meant or something like that. And my painter brother was suggesting that at least a lot of artists and a lot of other people wish that those didn't exist, that people would just look at it and come up with their own ideas. And I've thought about that a lot since, because it is true. We like to read lyrics of songs. We like to understand what people are saying. We like to go back and read their story, read what that story meant to them and the process that they wrote these words, right? Those are cool. Those are helpful. And audiences love that. And so we want to cater to that. But at the same time, we also want the art to just stand on its own. The trick is knowing how to listen and watch things that we don't necessarily know how to interpret. And we think that it's some weird different thing, rather than just trusting our observations and saying, what am I seeing? What am I hearing? And what does that make me think and feel? If you'll go through that process, you'll notice that a lot of meaning will come up and you'll start to really understand more what is going on in that painting, and it will mean something to you. It might not mean what the artist who created it, you might not understand what they're trying to say and what the original intent and meaning was, but for most artists, what they're really wanting is for you to think and feel for yourself and make meaning on your own. So I'm watching these dancers and I'm seeing 3 dancers. I'm seeing 2 guys and a lady. And that sets up on its own a really interesting relationship here, right? So either it's a father, son, and girlfriend, a father and a wife and a son, or any kind of relationship there. Our brain starts trying to figure out what is the relationship here. And then just by the fact of their positions, right? Who's close to who? Who's far away from who? Who's struggling with who? Who's observing who? There's all kinds of meaning that comes from that. So, and there's a lot of other meaning too, in terms of if you're looking at body relations to each other, are they turned towards or away from? Are they reacting to or listening to or speaking to and communicating to? Which part of that relationship are they feeling? And what's the give and take? What's the status? Who's higher? There's so many things that come into play when we have people on stage. And in this case, this is a really dynamic, interesting, it's not just a duo, it's this 3 that makes things really, gives a lot of potential for a lot of drama and a lot of interest and meaning here. So as I'm watching that, that's what's going through my brain, is in relation to what we're hearing and singing, what meaning can I make from that about these relationships and what's going on? And what does it mean to these people? What does it mean to me as I'm watching that? So that's what's going on. What I'm hearing is this nice legato line, this warm richness, it's kind of moody. And then what I'm seeing is matching that. I'm seeing really legato, long, straight lines with a little bit of explosiveness, a little bit of edge, and a lot of tension between the people that are dancing. Tension meaning relationship tension, emotional tension. Same thing with what I'm hearing. I'm hearing a lot of potential for contrast, for change, for emotional tension. It's starting low, it's starting warm, it's starting rich, but it's starting to kind of build in crescendo, which then builds this potential for change. And that's tension. Not vocal tension, but emotional and dramatic tension, which is awesome.
Oh, and then came you. Lover, don't leave my bed. I have nothing left to give. I will love you until the end of my...
Notice when we got up in that middle range, a little more a little more teeth there, a little more of that smile in back. Then he dropped back down, and the kind of came back in place. This position, the lips dropped down a little bit, and it warmed it up and enriched it again. He's not pushing at it. He's not forcing the sound. He's keeping that breath flow really consistent between all those notes. He's keeping the placement forward. It's still there, but he's changing the color and shape by what he's doing in the back and what he's doing with his teeth and lips as well. So cool.
Open your heart and let me in once more. It's a cold, cold world out there on your own. So lover, don't leave.
What was interesting there, on that high note there, he actually did not go to this place. He kept a little more and that let it be a little breathier, a little softer. Wasn't what I expecting. I think when I listened to it on Spotify, if I'm remembering right, and maybe this happens later, I don't know, but that I do hear more clarity, more bite and forwardness in it. So he might just be performing it here differently, or maybe I'm just remembering it differently. But in this moment, he's not doing that there. And consequently, it softens that high note up. It makes it a little bit breathy, smooths out the line a little bit, makes it a little more relaxed, a little less edgy. And what's interesting here is I'm watching the dance, is that dance matches it really well there. Again, there's contrast, but fluidity in it at the same time. Love it.
She said, I wish the best for you and everything that you pursue, but you're just like every other man I've ever known. Separate your things from mine, the memories we'll leave behind, but one day I'll remember you with drier eyes. Oh, and then went you, lover, don't leave my bed.
Okay, if you're watching him here as he's performing, are you seeing tension or stress anywhere here in the vocal mechanism? Nope, you're not. He's shaping, he's changing sounds to make them what he wants, to have the color in the right moment for the right note song. It's what he's looking for. But there's not tension. He's not creating through push, force, tension, grab. He's just opening that shape, altering it, adjusting it. That's awesome. The other thing that I want to point out here, visually, what's going on with the lights. First of all, if you're doing video, you got to have light, because otherwise you have to increase the ISO or whatever you're wanting to do to be able to capture more light. It's going to get grainy or blurry, or it's just not going to be what you want. So you got to have light. You also have to have light for any kind of live performance. Now, the key is having the right kind of light. You'll notice with the dancers, really what we're looking for a lot is side light that's going to capture the angles of the body. When we're looking at a singer, the primary light is actually the one that's hitting their face, because the first place we're looking for a singer is their face. So we're looking for expression, honesty, what they really mean, and that's where we look. Dancer, we're not, because no one's saying anything, and so the primary communicative tool is their body, and so that's what we're looking for. So in this case, you'll notice that his face is up there. The lights are creating visual interest in the background. They've turned on all kinds of lights to bring out shadows and contrasts in the architecture around them, and that's awesome. That creates visual interest even in this very relatively standard looking room. So what can we learn from this? A few things. One, trust your mic. Don't push it. Keep your mouth right there on the mic. Really play with all the different sounds you can make just by changing the shape in here. This 80% of a yawn space can be changed and shaped in so many different ways to give us so many different sounds. Really focus on keeping that airflow consistent. Don't push at high notes. Don't push at low notes. Just keep that nice and consistent with your mic on the mouth. Two, pay attention to what the light around you. Start noticing what videos are interesting, where your eyes focus for different moments, and how those lights can help you.
I've nothing left to give. I will love you until the end of my days. Open up your heart and let me in once more. It's a cold, cold world out there on your own. So
So another big lesson we can learn from here is if we release that extraneous tension, as you're watching him, he's moving, he's standing there, he's not really doing a ton in terms of movement or action. we still buy it. It's believable. It feels authentic. It feels genuine, right? Because he's not introducing tension where it doesn't belong. And he is allowing his body to react and to be expressive in his face, his arms, his body, holding the mic, doing whatever he's going to be doing in a way that is authentic without the tension. As soon as we see tension creep in, all of a sudden we go on high alert and we back off from the thing and we don't engage like we would otherwise. So that release of extraneous tension is the first and foremost tip and key to good singing and good performing, and they do an awesome job here. I also love watching their pianist, and I love watching the string player as well, because they also, you'll notice, you can just see in his hands at the end that the shoulders are relaxed and released. They're still expressive. They're able to move and be fluid. It's that release. It's like a tennis player. If they just stand there rigid, tense, ready to hit a ball hard, it's not going to work. There's this constant balance and move, this flexibility, this engagement, but not tension, that we're looking for in a performer that lets them react to emotions in the moment. If there's tension in there, your body just isn't going to be free to react to the nuance of emotion that will be going through your body and your mind and your heart if you allow yourself that freedom. So the key here is find a way to really connect with your song, understand the who, what, where, when, why, how, what you want, what's keeping you from getting what you want, all these things that you're picturing, the story arc, all these cool things. Invest in that and just keep a part of your brain aside, scanning through your body, releasing any tension that doesn't need to be there, whether it's your tongue, your jaw, your neck, your face, your shoulders, your upper chest, your abs, your back, your legs, whatever it is, and just kind of gently move it, keep it going, and give it permission to be expressive, to move, and to respond to what the song is calling for, not for what your judgmental mind is calling for, what you think others want. Shove that all out the door and focus on giving yourself permission to follow the impulse, to trust your imagination, your thoughts, your emotions, if you're living in the moment of that song. Dance-wise, I want to touch on that one more time. As I was watching that, it just raised more questions than it gave answers. And that's another sign to me of really great art, is that it made me think, well, maybe this isn't about people at all. Maybe these are relationships of different emotions in his mind or memories. Maybe they represent different aspects of emotion. It could relate to people. What would this be? Is this like a child interpreting a parent's divorce and watching their parent get in love with someone else, and then the reconciliation of all of them together and becoming like, I don't know. There's so many things that it could be. It's something that makes me want to watch it again and again and again and come up with what I'm seeing and what I'm feeling and making sense of it and letting it really impact how I react with the world around me, right? It's that same kind of building of tension, relationships of bodies, physical connection versus distance, all those things that we understand on an intuitive level. So instead of thinking, oh, I don't get dance, I don't understand it, I don't know what it means, just stop and think, what am I hearing? What am I seeing? What does it make me think? What does it make me feel? And then I think you're going to find that these forms that might seem really abstract aren't as abstract as you think, and can unlock so many different thoughts and feelings and ambitions and dreams and hopes, and help you understand fears, and can really do amazing things. So congratulations to Citizen Shade here for not just an awesome Tiny Desk submission, but putting together an awesome collaborative dance piece with their work. Whole thing, love them both. Tell me what you like below, what you think, and what you enjoy, what you want to see more of. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. If you want me to work with you or your group to help you sing easier, perform at a consistently higher level, book a time with me at mrperformingartstudio.com, or you can find me on wizio.com if you just want to send a short audio or video clip and have me give you my feedback. Either way, it would be awesome. If you want to see more videos or contribute to helping me make more of these, check me out on Patreon, and I hope to see you next time. Don't forget, click like and subscribe. Thank you. See you next time.